Some really fake stuff went down in the news the other day. This is just a couple of days after September 11th. And Hillary Clinton, you may have seen that video of her collapsing. What you may not have seen is the video of her coming out 90 minutes later out of her daughter's apartment and waving and saying that she was good and it was a beautiful day in New York, and calling a child over for a really contrived little photo op, and then Hillary runs off. Well, that wasn't Hillary. There was a double. And if you didn't see that video, it's because the major networks didn't run it because they knew it was her double. But a lot of the local television news channels, news shows, ran this video. And a lot of people on the internet are like, these conspiracy theories, these truthers and their theories. I always think it's funny when people are making fun of a group who call themselves truthers, who are looking for truth. People just can't seem to understand that there are things that happen in this world that they don't know about. They think if they don't know about it, it's not true. They think if they're not sure about it, it's not true. It's just completely made up. Well, I can tell you that there are many, many things that have happened in this world and are going to happen that you're not going to know about. And there's going to be a bazillion things that you're not going to be sure about, and they're still going to be true. The same thing goes for me and everybody else, okay? Things happen in this world, and they're not all amazing coincidences. So don't be a coincidence theorist, which is a term I made up, by the way. So I wanted to do a couple of stories about how I learned that the news is total bullshit. And this one I want to talk about local news, how it works, because everybody has a real misconception about how local news works. Local news is produced by your local television stations, and it's just a show that they produce. It's not any special thing. You know, if they just found that they could make more money with news programs from selling commercials than they could any other show. If they could make more money showing cartoons in that time slot, you better fucking believe they're gonna have Mork and Mindy and cartoons and Buffalo Bill and Buffalo Bob and whoever the fuck they can get on there talking to the kids if they could make more money that way. But they can't. They make more money with news. That's why they have news shows, and that's what they are, is television shows. They aren't giant bastions of news credibility. When you walk into a local television station, they don't go, "Hello, welcome to Channel 32, ABC News. We're damn proud of it. Here's all our news awards. Here's all of our news credentials." No, there's no news credentials. There's no news awards. There's nobody. They might have degrees in journalism, but that doesn't really mean anything except they know how to write a story that is in a Melvin Block, print ad, so that it'll get printed in America. But here's the way local news works. First of all, you got to understand, it's not the way you think it is. Everybody thinks local news guys are sitting in the news place, at the news station, and they're listening to their police scanner radio, and they hear a call over and they know all the police call lingo, 99, 5150, it's oh shit, and they people think they run out there in the news van and they stick the camera in the cops' faces and they go, "Tell us what happened, officer," and the officers are like, no, get out of here with those cameras, come on, get back. That's not true. That's not how it works at all. That's just a fabrication from television shows and from movies. Reporters don't act like that at all. In fact, here's the way a news story happens. Something happens, the police go there and they start working on it. Somebody from the police department, communications department, calls the local television stations, calls the news department, who they have a very good working relationship with, and they go, "Hey Patty, just wanted to let you know there's an incident going on," and they give them the address. And the person in the newsroom goes, "Hey, thank you very much for the tip." They hang up the phone and they call a reporter who's probably at home and who fits the ethnicity of whatever that neighborhood is. If it's a black neighborhood, they call the black reporter. If it's Asian, they call the Asian reporter. If it's gay, they call the gay reporter, if it's in West Hollywood. And that goes on all over LA, and I imagine the rest of the country as well. So they call that reporter at home and they go, "Hey, something's happening in your neighborhood, get out there." So he rushes out, he or she, and meets up with the van driver, who's also the cameraman. They'll meet up somewhere along the way, but usually the van driver gets there on his own. He parks there as close as he can to the scene. He hops out, he gets his camera, and he gets the same shots that you're going to see in every news report ever for your whole life in local news. And those shots are this. You're going to see the tape that says "Caution, do not cross." You're going to see some police vehicles parked in front of a building, and you're going to see a couple of cops walking by the building and maybe going into a building and talking to each other. If they get there early enough to see a cop car go by with its lights flashing, they'll have that shot of the cop car going by. And then what they'll often do is he'll interview people. I'll tell you more about that in just a second. But so let me tell you what happens when the reporter gets there. The reporter gets there, and the reporter immediately goes in and talks to the representative from the police, the spokesperson for the police, and gets the story. The cops tell the reporter, this is what happened, and the reporter writes it down and then goes and does their report and reports exactly what the cops tell them. They don't ever ever go, well, you know, the cops are telling us one thing, but we don't know. No, they go with what the police tell them always, all the time. They're not going to say anything negative about the police. They need the police to give them these stories. So if they don't have enough of a story there, they will then interview people on the street. Now these people, they got there after the reporter got there. They know less than about the story than the reporter does. So oftentimes the reporter will tell them what happened. Oh, you didn't know what happened? Oh, yeah, this politician was sending dick pics to his prostitute, and she blew his head off. And then they film the person going, oh my God, a hooker blew his head off. Oh, that's just awful. And that's the clip they run, as if this, you know, and then they have the reporter going, this tragic crime is leaving this community shocked and looking for answers. Oh my God, that's awful. You know, that's how they do it. That's the same report you're going to see on every local news every time. So you got to understand that the local news, they get all of their facts from the government, from the police. They don't have the resources to send reporters out and cover all these stories and dig for the truth. They don't have the time for that. They got to fill hours worth of news programs every day, 7 days a week. It's crazy, the news cycle. So you can't trust these reports. You can't trust anything you see on the news, because the national news works the same way, just at a higher level. They work directly with the government and the military instead of working with local governments and the local police like local news does. So you can't trust any of the news they get, any of the news they receive. You can't trust any of the news that they're giving to you. It's all bullshit.